Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Thursday. It's Daryl here. It's 3:30 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. And if it's this early, you know that I'm fired up. I've been up for a couple hours. And when it's this early, I usually can't wait to get in front of the camera and start talking about something. Okay, throughout the media, especially on the right, we've been seeing these pictures of detention, children, underage detention facilities, the campers, the mobile trailers with the bars on the windows. All right, that's become a big topic. The AC units. We've all seen these pictures. There's an article, an opinion piece in The Guardian. I'm not familiar with this person. I was surprised to see this one-sided piece in The Guardian taking Biden to task for this. But what I really want to talk about is Donald Trump Jr. on Twitter and on one of these other far-right channels. I have it down below. Okay, when I watch this piece from Donald Trump Jr., sometimes I wonder, if the left is just as bad as the right, and, everybody's lying and twisting and changing the facts to suit their narrative. But when I see something like this from Donald Trump Jr., this man knows the truth. And, okay, in this piece, he's saying, you've been sold a false bill of goods. The media is lying to you. He's talking about kids in cages. He's talking about how his father was accused of putting kids in cages. And now that Biden is doing, and he shows these pictures. And I'm going to go over this whole thing again. He talks about how his father was wrongly accused and how Obama built this and his father was just trying to do better for these poor immigrant kids. And this is patently false. And I could prove it. The links are all down below. All right, so Don Jr. is telling his right-wing followers that they've been lied to, that the media is twisting this, that they're calling these campers child immigration detention facilities. And when his father was in office, they were calling it kids in cages. And, you're being sold a bill of lies. Now, like I said, what he's doing, what Donald Trump Jr. is doing right there is knowingly lying right into the camera. And what he's accusing the liberal people or Democrats of doing, he is doing right there. He is knowingly leaving out parts of this story. Let's start at the very beginning. In 2014, 2015, there was a big flow of undocumented kids, 13 to 17, without parents coming into the country. Okay. Obama, they built these facilities, and especially a lot of them did have chain link dividers. They were for holding these kids that did not come here with parents. For holding, there's males, females, different ages. Of course, you're going to want to separate a 17-year-old male from a 13-year-old female. Of course, for the kid's own safety. So now the other thing is, and like I said, the links are all down below. The Obama administration built these so that the kids, there's the Flores Agreement from 1997 that kids could not be held longer than 72 hours or 20 days in an emergency. Okay, so Obama built these cages for the kids coming in here without parents until they could be put into homes, until they could be put with sponsors. Okay, what Donald Trump Jr. is leaving out is that in 2016, when he became president, Jeff Sessions was the attorney general, and he instituted the zero tolerance policy. Now, we've all heard of that. So every single family that came across that border, the parents were arrested and the kids were taken from them. Over 30,000 kids in 1 year were taken from their parents. The families separated. Over 500, 600 of those kids have never been reunited with their families. Basically making orphans of these kids. That's what Trump Jr. is leaving out of this narrative. So his father instituted this zero tolerance policy. Families coming across the border. The parents were arrested, put in jail, and the kids were put in cages. The families were separated, and a lot of them never were reunited. That's the difference. Now, the Biden administration, these campers are for 13 to 17-year-old children that are coming across unaccompanied. Totally different thing than arresting and separating the parents from their children, which that's what Trump Jr.'s father did. And he knows this. As he's saying this into the camera, oh, my father was wrongly accused and the media was so mean to him. And he doesn't mention anything about the zero tolerance policy that his father instituted. Doesn't mention a word about that. You know, his father was trying to do the right. His father was just trying to use the terrible things that Obama had built to reunite these families. In the debate, in the 2016, the third debate, Trump kept asking Biden, who built the cages? Who built the cages? Yes, Obama built the cages, but they were used for two totally different reasons. Unaccompanied kids coming across the border, and a lot of these kids, their parents have passed away, or their parents are being held by the cartels, used by the cartels. We can't just return these kids to Mexico. Did you ever see like those horror movies where somebody tries to do the right thing and they give the kids back, but they're really putting the kids back in harm's way, you know, and they think they're doing the right thing? That's what we would be doing if we took these kids and sent them back to Mexico. There's a reason they came here. It's not like, you know, the American kids and their parents took away their iPod and they're angry, so they ran away from home and they ran to America. No, it's more like the cartels decapitated their mother and father and they're running for their lives into America. That's the true story of a lot of these kids coming here. So Trump Jr. now is talking about, there's these pictures out of the Biden's facilities. I think some of them are in Homestead, Florida now. And I think they're purposely further away from the towns because people complain when if you put this stuff too close to the town, people complain, we don't want that in our neighborhood. It devalues the homes. You put it farther away and now they're accusing Biden of putting it too far away so that it's like out in the boondocks somewhere and he's trying to hide it now, you know? So we have these trailers. They're for 13 to 17-year-old children that have come here unaccompanied. Totally different thing than what than Don Jr.'s trying to say in this video. His father separated the mother and father from the kids, put the kids in the detention facilities that Obama built. But Obama built them for just 72 hours to hold the families and the children. That's another thing, that the families and the children were put during the Obama administration, were put here just for 72 hours until they found somewhere to put them to start their immigration proceedings. But Don Jr. here, he's flat out lying into the camera, what he's saying, just like his father did in the debate. Talking about these trailers. Oh, and then in this video, his father talks about how there's bars on the walls. It's kids in cages, just like my father did. And the media is selling you these lies about my poor father. These children, like I said, there's different ages and different sexes. Now, legally, because of the Flores Agreement of 1997, these kids can't be held for longer than 20 days. I think the Biden administration is trying to stretch that to 30 days to find a place in Health and Human Services for all these kids because we are in the middle of a pandemic. So there's a bit of they're trying to change the policy. In the Guardian article, this writer talks about how Biden is planning on breaking the law by keeping these kids, instead of 20 days in an emergency situation, keeping them for 30 days. You know, and they show a picture of the bunk beds. in the Guardian article. They don't mention, if you read the article, that's just the hospital facilities. That's just the one area. If you go through the whole thing, there's barber shops, there's hairdressers. There's all these things for these kids in this detention facility. And Trump Jr. is trying to paint this like it's kids in cages, just like my father did, except worse. Not even close. Not even close. Trump Jr. is just lying right into the camera. He knows his father had a zero tolerance policy. His father separated the families, the mother and father, from the children. Biden is not doing that. No way, no how, period, full stop. Obama didn't do that. No way, no how, full stop. The only person who did that was Donald Trump. When these families came over, he wanted to make sure he put the fear of God into them, or the fear of God into the people back in Mexico, by taking their children. It's like something out of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. With that guy that was riding around the kid catcher, remember that? He had this net. That's what the Trump administration reminds me of. But Don Jr. is just flat out being disingenuous in this piece, saying that these trailers are just like his father did. And the media is twisting it and making it look all better. That's because it is all better. It is different. He's not separating the families from the kids. These kids have come here by themselves, fleeing God knows what. Biden is putting them in these facilities with hairdressers, their own trailers, secure, with secure windows so people can't break in and steal their stuff. And Trump Jr. is trying to paint this like, oh my God, it's so much worse than my father. The media painted my father as evil. You know, when I see stuff like this, it makes me realize there is a difference between a lot of these politicians. You know, Trump Jr. is flat out, not only is he lying, but he's accusing the other side of lying while he's lying. I've got all the links down below to every word I've said. That'll verify every single piece of information I said. If you disagree with me, look at the links down below. All right, you guys have a good Thursday.